Becoming addicted to hard things happens when you stop negotiating with yourself about what needs to be done. Right now, you lose that negotiation daily because nobody taught you the actual mechanics of discipline. The samurai principle of Kushin transforms painful effort into automatic action, while Ryu teaches flowing through resistance instead of fighting it. Combined into Kushinryu creates a three-part system that rewires your relationship with difficulty, starting with why your current wiring is backwards. Part 1. The pleasure disease. Your brain has been hijacked without your permission. Every app on your phone employs neuroscientists whose only job is to make you need the next hit. They've turned your reward system into a slot machine. Pull down to refresh. Maybe this time something good. Pull again. Maybe now. The same mechanism that once drove your ancestors to hunt for days now gets triggered every 7 minutes by design. Here's what nobody explains. Your brain can't tell the difference between earned and unearned pleasure. Ancient warriors got dopamine from completing a successful hunt, from building shelter, from winning battles. The pleasure came after the pain, always. Pain first, pleasure second. That was the only formula that existed. Your brain evolved for that sequence. Effort, then reward, struggle, then satisfaction. Modern society broke this system. Now dopamine is free. Wake up, check phone, hit. Scroll social media, hit. Stream entertainment, hit. Order food instantly, hit. Every comfort, every convenience, every shortcut floods your brain with the same chemical that used to require fighting for your life. They've hacked the reward without requiring the work, and your brain thinks you're winning while your edge disappears. Take Gohan. Successful career, good income, everything comfortable. Every morning, he'd watch his neighbor leave for a 5 a.m. run while he scrolled his phone in bed. He told himself he was being smart, conserving energy for important things. His co-workers grinded at the gym during lunch while he ordered delivery to his desk. More time for productivity, he said. Evening meant Netflix, not the martial arts class he'd bookmarked 6 months ago. Recovery is important, he reasoned. 6 months later, Gohan couldn't climb 3 flights of stairs without breathing heavy. His focus fractured after 20 minutes of deep work. His confidence evaporated in meetings. Not because he was weak, but because comfort had poisoned him slowly, imperceptibly, one easy choice at a time. The world told him he was winning. Good job, nice apartment, all the streaming services. But his capacity for anything difficult had atrophied to nothing. That's what's happening to you. The world sells you comfort as self-care. They tell you to take it easy, reduce stress, avoid difficulty. But comfort isn't rest. It's atrophy. Every hour in the comfort zone, your edge dulls. Every easy choice weakens the muscle that makes hard choices. They're not helping you recover, they're domesticating you. Think about the last time you accomplished something genuinely difficult. That feeling wasn't just satisfaction. It was earned dopamine hitting a starved receptor, pure and powerful because you'd fought for it. Now think about modern life. Mediocre pleasures injected all day that leave you empty, exhausted, somehow bored and stressed simultaneously. This is the disease they've given you. They've trained your brain to expect reward without effort. They've made pleasure your baseline instead of your prize. The system wants you comfortable because comfortable people don't rebel, don't excel, don't threaten the order. Comfortable people consume and comply. They've weaponized your own brain chemistry against you, but knowing you're diseased means nothing if you don't understand the cure. You can't just fight this with willpower because willpower runs on the same dopamine they've depleted. The solution isn't fighting harder, it's understanding the paradox of resistance. Part 2, the resistance paradox. Every Monday you declare war on yourself. This week everything changes. Force yourself to the gym, force yourself to work, force yourself through discipline, and by Wednesday you've lost because you're fighting the wrong battle. Here's what happens when you force. You create an equal and opposite reaction. Basic physics, but nobody applies it to discipline. The harder you push against your nature, the harder it pushes back. You wake up saying, I have to work out, and instantly you've created an enemy. Your brain hears have to as threat, as imprisonment, as something being taken away. Now it's not just difficult, it's war. Gohan learned this the hard way. After realizing he'd gotten soft, he went extreme. Set his alarm for 4 a.m., 2 hours of training before work, strict diet, no exceptions, pure willpower, pure force. Day 1 felt incredible, finally taking control. Day 3 felt like death. Day 7, he couldn't get out of bed. Not lazy, depleted. He'd burned through every ounce of mental energy fighting himself. This is the willpower death cycle. Sprint, burnout, quit, promise to try harder, repeat. You think the problem is weakness, but it's physics. Force requires energy, fighting requires fuel, and willpower is a finite resource that depletes faster than it replenishes. By the time you need it most, it's gone. The Taoists understood this 2,000 years ago. They called it Wu Wei, action without force. Watch water move around a rock. It doesn't fight, doesn't push. doesn't exhaust itself trying to go through. It finds the path of least resistance and flows. Give it enough time and the water dissolves the rock completely, not through force, but through consistency without effort. But here's where everyone gets Wu Wei wrong. They think it means being passive, going with the flow, taking it easy. No, it means aligning your actions with natural forces instead of fighting them. A surfer doesn't fight the wave. He becomes part of its energy. A martial artist doesn't resist momentum. He redirects it. When you say, I have to, you're fighting. When you say, I get to, you're flowing. Sounds like semantic garbage until you feel the difference. I have to wake up early creates resistance. I get to train while everyone sleeps creates opportunity. Same action, different physics. Gohan discovered this accidentally. After burning out, he gave up the forcing. Instead of, I have to train, he started saying, I'm curious how much stronger I can get today. Not obligation, exploration. Instead of strict schedules, he followed energy. Some days, 20 minutes, some days, 2 hours. The pressure disappeared and something strange happened. He started showing up every day. Without the internal war, there was no resistance to overcome. Training became investigation, not obligation. Each session revealed something, not required something. The same effort that felt impossible through force felt natural through curiosity. He wasn't fighting his nature anymore. He was feeding it. But removing resistance is only half the equation. You still have to deal with pain, with discomfort, with the reality that hard things hurt. Ancient warriors discovered the opposite approach. Instead of avoiding pain, they transformed what it meant. This is where pain becomes something else entirely. Part 3. Kushin, the painful joy. Look at any 70-year-old who played it safe their whole life. Never pushed too hard, never made waves, never really suffered. Now look at a 30-year-old who's been through hell, built companies that failed, fought battles they lost, loved people who left. The 30-year-old has more wisdom in their scars than the 70-year-old has in their years, because wisdom doesn't come from time, it comes from pain transformed into understanding. This is Kushin, the painful joy. Not pain you endure, but pain you seek because you know what it builds. Every meaningful thing in your life came through suffering, every skill through frustration, every relationship through conflict, every success through failure. The pain wasn't the obstacle, it was the material. Gohan understood this when everything shifted. He'd been training for months, seeing pain as proof he was weak. Every burn meant he wasn't strong enough yet. Every struggle meant he was failing. Then his mentor asked him one question. What if that burn isn't weakness leaving, but strength arriving? The entire game changed. That burning in his muscles wasn't pain anymore. It was construction. That gasping for air wasn't suffering. It was expansion. Every signal his body sent that used to mean stop now meant grow. Same sensations, completely different meaning. He started chasing the burn, seeking the struggle, because that's where transformation lived. This isn't masochism, it's recognition. Your brain interprets signals based on context. Touch a hot stove and pain means danger. Push through the last rep and the same pain means progress. The sensation is identical, but your interpretation determines everything. Warriors learn to rewrite the interpretation. Think about the last time something was genuinely difficult and you pushed through anyway. That moment when everything said quit, but you didn't. The pride you felt wasn't about the achievement. It was about discovering you were harder than the hardness. That's the joy inside the pain. Not happiness, but something deeper. Proof that you're becoming who you're supposed to be. Musashi wrote it perfectly. The true way of strategy is to train daily and fight as if in battle. Not train for battle, train as battle. Every session is war, every rep is combat. Not because you're preparing for something, but because the fighting itself transforms you. The pain isn't preparation, it's the point. Nothing meaningful ever came from comfort. The athlete who dominates didn't learn from winning. He learned from injuries that almost ended everything. The artist whose work moves you didn't find depth in happiness. She found it in the darkness that almost consumed her. Pain is information. Discomfort is data. Suffering is education. But only if you stop running from it. Only if you transform it from something that happens to you into something you harvest. Master this or stay weak forever. Not physically weak, existentially weak. The kind of weak that reaches 70 and realizes you never really lived. You existed, you consumed, you stayed safe. But you never transformed because transformation requires temperatures that melt who you were. But joy alone won't carry you. You need the current. You need momentum that doesn't depend on feeling good about pain. Ancient warriors discovered how to create unstoppable motion. Part 4. Ryu, the current of discipline. Not the discipline you force, but the discipline that carries you. Like a river that doesn't decide to flow, it just flows. Objects in motion stay in motion. Objects at rest stay at rest. Your problem is you keep stopping and starting, which means you're always at rest. Every morning you decide whether to work out, decision. Every project you decide when to begin, decision. Every hard conversation you decide if today's the day, decision. Each decision burns glucose in your prefrontal cortex. By noon, you've made 300 decisions and you're depleted. This is decision fatigue, and it's why you can eat perfectly all day, then destroy a bag of chips at 9 p.m. Not weak, empty. The Zen archer doesn't decide to draw his bow. After 10,000 draws, the bow has become his arm. The movement happens without thought, without choice, without negotiation. His body knows the motion like your legs know how to walk. No decision required, just action flowing into action. The archer enters the dojo and his body begins. Not because he wants to, but because that's what happens at this time in this place. Gohan discovered this during intensive training. First week, every session required convincing himself. Internal debate, negotiation. Should I go now or after lunch? Maybe just a short session today. By week 4, his body moved to the training ground automatically. No thought, no choice, just motion. He'd eliminated the decision point entirely. The current had taken him. The fascinating part, it required less energy to train than to skip. Skipping meant breaking the current. Starting again tomorrow meant overcoming inertia again. But staying in motion meant riding momentum that already existed. The hardest part of any river is the source. Once it's flowing, it carves through mountains. Here's how you create the current, the 2-minute entry. Your brain resists big changes but ignores small ones. 2 minutes of training doesn't threaten your comfort, so there's no resistance. But once you're moving, Newton takes over. 2 minutes becomes 10, becomes 30. Not through willpower, but through physics. Stop deciding, start flowing. Instead of should I work out, the only decision is starting the timer. 2 minutes. That's the entire commitment. Once you're in motion, the current takes you. Some days it's just 2 minutes. Fine, you maintain the current. Most days it's more because stopping is harder than continuing. This is the difference between professionals and amateurs. Amateurs wait for inspiration. Professionals create momentum. Motivation is waiting for wind. Discipline is rowing. One depends on feelings that may never come. The other depends on physics that never fails. The current doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't need you to want it. It just needs you to enter. 2 minutes, every day, same time. No decisions, no negotiations. Just motion creating more motion. After 30 days, it's not discipline anymore. It's identity. You're not someone who works out. You're someone who flows through training every morning like water flows downhill. But the current alone isn't enough. You need all 3 principles working together. Now let me show you how this becomes a complete system. Part 5, the complete system. Kushinryu isn't 3 separate principles. It's one practice with 3 pillars that create someone unrecognizable. First pillar, dawn protocol. Your hardest thing happens first. Not later, not after coffee, not when you feel ready, first. The moment you wake, your feet hit the floor and you're moving toward difficulty. No phone, no negotiation, no preparation. The hardest thing while your mind is too tired to resist. This sets the current for everything else. When you've already conquered your demon before 6 a.m., the rest of the day is victory lap. Second pillar, progressive loading. Yesterday's maximum becomes today's minimum, but here's the key. Never stop on round numbers. Everyone does 10 minutes on the treadmill. You do 10 minutes, 7 seconds. Everyone does 20 push-ups. You do 21. Not massive jumps, just breaking the psychological completion point. Those 7 seconds become 7 minutes in 2 months. The difference between success and mediocrity isn't talent. It's the 7 seconds everyone else won't do. Third pillar, pleasure delay. Reward comes after never before. Coffee after training, Netflix after work, comfort after accomplishment. This reverses the modern disease of unearned pleasure. Your brain relearns the ancient sequence. Pain, then pleasure, effort, then reward. Within weeks, you can't enjoy comfort without earning it first. The guilt of unearned pleasure becomes unbearable. These 3 pillars create a feedback loop. Each pillar reinforces the others until the system runs itself. In 30 days, you won't recognize who you were. The hard path isn't just better. It's the only path that exists. Everything else is slow death disguised as life. You're either growing harder or growing softer, building or decaying, choosing pain or being chosen by it. Tomorrow morning, your alarm will ring. In that moment, you'll make the choice you always make, or you'll enter the current. Kushinryu doesn't require belief, just entry. 2 minutes, the system is waiting. The only question is whether you are. May God bless you and keep pushing. See you in the next video.